Now to Seattle, Washington, where protesters are heading into their fourth night occupying several city blocks in the so-called Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, or what they're calling Chaz. We'll go there in a few minutes, but right now I want to check in with CNN's Dan Simon. He's actually on the scene for us in Seattle. Dan, so set the scene for us right now. What are you seeing and what are you hearing?
Well, hi, Wolf. We are in the heart of Chaz, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, as protesters call it. It's a 6-block area in the middle of Seattle. You can see what it looks like. It basically looks like a Saturday street festival. You can see all these folks on the street. This is the police station that was effectively abandoned by officers as a way to de-escalate the ongoing tension that existed here. You had ugly protests going on, violent clashes between officers and some of these protesters. Tear gas was deployed, and when officers fled the station, it effectively de-escalated everything. And from what we've observed, everything has been peaceful, despite what you might be seeing in conservative media, as well as President Trump's tweets. I did speak to a protester who responded to the president's rhetoric. Take a look.
All I gotta say to Trump is, Trump, you got all the Secret Service in the world. You know, come down here and see for yourself. Get in that plane and come see for yourself. Come look at what's going on down here. Come talk to us. I can't understand a person who's never been in my situation, and vice versa. He's never been poor, so how could he understand what it's like to not have? I don't want my kids to have to be here talking to CNN or whoever about this one day when they get older. That's why I'm out here. That's why we're here.
Now, among the protesters' demands, they want to see the Seattle Police Department defunded, which of course is what you're hearing all over the country. They also want to see that a police precinct turned into a community center, and it sounds like from what the mayor is saying that option may in fact be on the table. She has questioned whether or not there actually should be a police station in this part of the city. Right now, there appears to be no strategy in place, Wolf, in terms of how or when this situation might end. She's basically saying this is an expression of democracy, and she's okay with all these protesters on the streets for the time being. Wolf?
So just to be precise, Dan, when the police abandoned that building that's now been boarded up, they left on their own, and no one has been able to get inside. The protesters have not entered that building. Is that right?
That's exactly correct. The protesters have not entered the building, and there have been a few police officers who have remained in the facility essentially to watch over it, and the chief actually was able to get inside and talk to some of her staff members, but right now it is not staffed. And according to the chief of the department, that has led to some problems. Keep in mind, the chief disagreed with the mayor in terms of the decision to leave the building, and she is saying as a result of those officers not having access to the facility, or at least most of the officers, it has led to, and it's taking now triple the amount of time to respond to some of the calls in the area. For instance, if you had a typical 911 call, it was an emergency, it might take 5 minutes. She says now it's taking 15 minutes. Wolf?
And no police have been seen within that 6-block area. It's a no police zone, is that right?
It is a no police zone. That's what they're calling it. Now, occasionally, Wolf, you might see an officer come by and engage with some of the protesters, but those officers are unarmed, and it's a way for them to mingle and build trust with some of these protesters. I did actually observe one officer. Her name was Lieutenant Tammy Floyd. She spoke to one of these protesters for about a half an hour, just listening and to hearing her concerns. And when that conversation was over, she had tears in her eyes because she was really taken away with what that person had to say. And she said that the complaints that she's hearing are valid, Wolf.
All right, Dan, we're going to get back to you. We'll see what's going on in Seattle, Washington.